What up, dudes? Back in the car, UFC 316, and we'll talk a little bit about Usman versus Buckley coming up this weekend. I wanted to talk about first about Patchy Mix's debut. What a horrible debut, dude. I was blown away by how bad he looked. Like, I know he's not a striker, right? He's not a striker. Mainly, he's a wrestler, grappler, gets finishes on the ground and pound, control. That's the type of guy he is. But god damn, dude, he looked bad on the feet. He looked stuck in the mud. He looked slow. He looked very, very, very stiff. Like, he looked so bad that I was like, is this guy having like a really bad injury? Like, is his back, just in terrible shape right now? Does he have a knee injury? I mean, it was terrible how he looked. I was very surprised. I did think he was going to win. I thought he was going to use some grappling, some ground and pound, like his normal MO, right? And he just did not do that. He decided to try. I think he only had 2 takedown attempts, and they were pretty half-assed. But, like, wow, that was a bad debut. I was trying to think of champions that have had debuts, and, like, we had, Patty was, I think, LFA champion. We had, Chandler was around the title, and Bellator. We had, I guess, Patricky Pitbull was the last one. Now, granted, he was fighting a top guy like Yair, so not necessarily apples to apples. But the Patchy Mix's debut was so bad. Might have been the worst debut I've ever seen. I mean, Bautista, lower middling guy, but looked way better, way more athletic, way more dynamic than Patchy Mix. So I was very disappointed, and probably the worst debut fight from a champ I've ever seen, like from a different organization's champ. Also, Kevin Holland. This dude needs to get more love, man. I feel like there's definitely some big Kevin Holland collectors out there, but the guy is very exciting when he's in the cage. I mean, I feel like pretty much every fight that I've seen with him, he's usually in a pretty exciting fight. Also, the build-up, he's just a likable guy. He's fun. He's charismatic. He likes to talk outside the octagon. He does a great job on the mic in the octagon. I am very surprised that he doesn't have like a much bigger fan base. I mean, the parallels between him and Diaz, to me, are pretty close. He's kind of like a good guy, Diaz, where Diaz, is kind of like, Nate's kind of like a bad boy, right? He's the bad boy. He's AC Slater, and Kevin Holland is Zach Morris. That is an OG reference. Hopefully you guys are my age. I used to watch Saved by the Bell in the morning before school when I'd eat my cereal. But, yeah, Kevin Holland, Zach Morris, Nate Diaz, AC Slater. Surprised he doesn't get more love. He does it again. He continues to be active. He continues to be fun. He got a finish. Really nice submission, man. And he's starting to kind of show us that maybe I was wrong about him. Maybe 170 is where he should have been this whole time. And maybe he is going to, continue to climb the rankings and maybe do something. I don't know if that's what he wants to do. He's came out and said that he doesn't want to be in title fights. He wants to fight bums and he wants to make money. I completely understand. Now, again, is he just talking, right? Is he just talking, being big mouth, or is he serious? Either way, it's fine with me. And I think it's going to be, a good career for him. And if he continues to put on fights like this, that's going to be awesome. Also, in one of his interviews, he said him versus Colby Covington in tough. And I love that, dude. I love that. Please sign me up for Kevin Holland and Colby Covington as the tough coaches. That would be great. We're seeing a lot of Colby Covington right now in Tough. I think he's on Chael Sonnen's team. If you're watching Tough, what's up? I'm watching it every week. I actually love that show, and I wish the UFC did more things like this, where they expose us to the character and the storylines of the fighters. But, yeah, dude, Kevin Holland, he's a stud. He's fun. Surprised he doesn't have more collectors. Josh Van does it again, continues to win, man. I was unsure about him at first. I think I saw a while back he ended up dropping one, and I was like, maybe, he's too young. It's too early to really kind of put the spotlight on him. But after that last fight, he looked sharp, he looked technical, he looked clean, and he looked in control, dude. He was just cruising in that fight. He stunned, I think it was Bruno Silva. I want to say Silva was his last name. I already forget. He stunned him multiple times, and he didn't jump on him like crazy. He was like, I'm just going to work this guy and drown him, and he did just that. He cracked him a lot. And I've heard a couple people talk about his power. Does he have enough power? I think he has power, man. I mean, you're talking about a very, very light weight class. To even drop guys at this weight class, you know, is impressive. We don't see a lot of finishes, and he does have the ability to finish. He also showed again that he can stuff takedowns, which is going to be a thing that he's going to have to do as he continues to climb up the rankings, because he has really good boxing and really good kickboxing, and people are not going to want to stand with Joshua Van. And he's already set to fight potentially Brandon Royval at UFC 317. When I heard that, one, I was like, that's badass. This guy's exciting. He's trying to fight. I saw a thing on Instagram where he bought his mom a house. That's amazing. He's taking the full advantage, trying to get as many fights and as much money as possible quickly. But then I thought, is this too early? Is he coming in too early to fight Royval? And I guess is it too early on two accounts? Is it too early to vault him into, you know, one of the best guys in the weight class? I do think Royval is kind of a top 3, top 5 guy in that weight class. Is it too early to vault him that high? And also, is it too early for him to come back after taking, notes say, 76 strikes in that fight? And I think it could be too early. 76 strikes, whether they were big or not, is still, you know, pretty significant. And if he ends up getting the win against Royval, is he the chase of the year? I'm going to say yes. I am going to say yes. This guy is so young. I didn't look it up, but I want to say he's like 23 or 24, which is astronomically young in a sport like MMA, and especially when you're at the biggest league in the UFC. 23 is super, super young, man. And excited about Joshua Van, and excited to chase some of his cards. If you haven't checked it out, go check out my 2025 Topps Chrome checklist video. I have already kind of went through some of the checklists, talked about all the rookies, so you can hit that up and look at what Josh Van cards you want. Next up, Kayla Harrison versus Juliana Pena. Pretty good fight, I would say. It was entertaining. I was happy that Harrison was able to sub her and get the dub. She looked pretty good, man. And we wanted it, and we got what we wanted. Nunes was in the crowd. Kind of a weird haircut, in my opinion. Nunes, I'm not a big fan of that haircut, but that's besides the point. She's in the crowd. She comes in the octagon with Kayla Harrison, and they are doing it, dude. They're doing it. Kayla Harrison versus Nunes. So happy Nunes is back in the mix. Harrison is an imposing figure. I mean, every single time she fights, if you just look in the comments, everybody is talking about her physique, which, I mean, it has to help, you know, market fights and sell fights when you look like an action figure like she does. And I am in the camp that she is not on steroids. She has, to me, maybe I need to do a separate video about this, natty or not, but she looks exactly the same mass as far as contractile tissue and muscle goes as she did when she was younger in judo. The only difference now is that she's shredded, and you don't need to take steroids to get shredded. That's all just hard work and diet. But a part of the, aside from the point, I am very excited about Nunes Harrison. I need to think about it a little more, because we have seen Juliana Pena submit Amanda Nunes, but I think that was not a motivated Nunes. And the real question that I need to figure out in my mind to decide who I'm going to pick is Amanda Nunes motivated right now? Is she just coming back, you know, for a big money fight? Because she's going to get big money if she comes back for this fight. Or is she coming back because she wants to test herself and see if she can beat an imposing figure and a great fighter like Kayla Harrison? So that is something that I kind of need to think about for a while. And maybe we'll see, you know, some blurbs with Nunes and see kind of where her headspace is at. It's always impossible to tell from stuff like that. But I think the psychology of where Nunes is at is really going to determine whether she wins or loses. Because if Amanda Nunes is hungry, if she is the Amanda Nunes that we saw 2 years ago, has it been already 2 years, maybe 3 years, 2.5 years, whatever. If she's that Nunes, I would favor her against Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison is incredible on the ground. She smothers. She's great control. But some of her takedown entries are not great. Like, even against Pena, you know, she kind of threw a couple punches and just kind of like smashed her against the cage, which is great if you can get that takedown. But she's not necessarily a tactician, and she also uses like a lot of body locks. I mean, what you would expect from judo. She doesn't go to the legs either. Nunes is a much more imposing figure and a much better athlete than Juliana Pena is when it comes to physical characteristics and strength. I don't know if she's going to be able to bully Nunes like that. And when they are not clinched up, Nunes has a big advantage. I think she could set her down. We saw Kayla Harrison lose to another really big, good striker in Larissa Pacheco in PFL. And I think the main reason she lost that fight was because she finally came up against somebody that was another great athlete, and she wasn't able to just big body her and big sister her the whole time. So that is Harrison versus Pena. Right now, in my heart, I'm leaning Nunes, but I mean, we have seen Nunes get submitted before. So really the only thing I need to figure out to pick that fight is Nunes motivated? All right, we know we're getting Harrison Nunes. You gotta put Zhang Weili and Valentina Shevchenko in a fight, man. We have the super fight with the women. We got another super fight just waiting. I mean, we had Blanchfield versus Barber go down, which kind of would have added some more ingredients into this guacamole, if you will. And we don't have that anymore because that fight didn't happen because Macy Barber had medical emergency right before the fight. So you have to put Zhang Weili and Shevchenko in a fight. Now my question to y'all is, and let me know in the comments if this is this going to work? Do you put that fight, Bullet versus Magnum, do you put that fight on the same card as Harrison Pena? Is that too many women's fight? Is that too many championship women's fight? I mean, could you do both of those and then also do a male champion? Do you spread it out? I don't know. Maybe you spread it out, but like to me that would be kind of fun. It would be like ladies' night, right? You just have the best of the best ladies going after it. And this, we'll see what y'all think about this. Let's say Bullet beats Zhang Weili. She does it convincingly. She looks good. Do you then, right after that, if Nunes wins, do you then make Bullet Nunes 3 and run that for double champ stats? I don't know. I think that would be pretty fun. But if you did it on the same night, you could do that. I guess you could also do that not on the same night. So maybe that's kind of a silly idea. All right, Merab versus Sean Omalley. I kind of feel for Sean because he looked pretty good, man. Like he was able to get up off a lot of stuff, a lot of takedowns. He was able to get up. Good striker. I mean, he landed some good shots. He looked fluid. But like Merab's just a different animal. And at this point, we saw Umar with a really pretty close fight, in my opinion. If Umar did break his hand, I think he probably does have what it takes to beat Merab. I want to see Sandhagen versus Merab. And even then, like, how can you bet against Merab after seeing what he did to Omalley? Like, yeah, Sandhagen is maybe a little bit better fight IQ, a little bit more well-rounded. But we saw what Umar did against Sandhagen, able to take him down at will, able to hold him, pretty much whenever he wanted to. I've got to imagine that Merab is going to be able to do the same thing to Sandhagen. But I do think that Sandhagen deserves a shot in that division. I still think that there's some fun fights to be had for Sean O'Malley. There's some good strikers in that division. We have Song Yudong. Rob Font is down to box. We have Petr Yan, which, I think they need to run that back. That was such a good fight. And O'Malley looked, I think that Petr Yan won that fight, but O'Malley did look pretty good. I mean, he landed some big shots and he stunned him multiple times. That was a really fun fight to watch, and I would love to see that get ran back again. Now, I don't know if O'Malley wants that smoke because he definitely had to dig deep and work hard for that one, but that would be fun. Also, what a turnaround in Merab Dvalishvili's career, and I think this is an important lesson when it comes to UFC collecting, that just because somebody is cold one moment does not mean that they will always be cold. I mean, think about how low Merab Dvalishvili was when he fought Jose Aldo. He was basically the Mario Bautista when he fought Aldo. Everyone hated him. Nobody was going to ever collect him. He was stupid. He was dumb. He sucks. He should be cut, blah, blah, blah. And now he's on top of the world, and he just had a card that sold for $16,000, which I want to do a video whenever I get some time on that. But, it just goes to show that you can't always have a concrete opinion on someone. Like, things are so fluid, things happen so quickly in this sport that, just because somebody's not selling, just because somebody's not hot, they can get hot, and Merab is on fire right now. You're talking about potential bantamweight GOAT status. You compare his resume, you compare Dominic Cruz's resume, UFC resume, Dominic Cruz's UFC resume. Let me tell you, let me clarify that. I see some people talking about his entire resume as an MMA career, but we're talking about UFC GOAT. I think Merab probably has him edged, and he has some really good names under his belt. But yeah, just a tale that the tides can turn very, very quickly. This weekend's main event, Usman Buckley. I got Usman, dude. He's a little bit taller. They have the same reach, but I do think that length of Usman with that jab, I think that's going to give Buckley some problems, as well as the straights. Now, Buckley is much younger, much fresher, might be hungrier as well, right? But I think the weight cut's going to be tough on him. Usman doesn't give up on himself. He's a tough fighter. You're either going to have to you know, put his lights out or put him to sleep. Like he's a tough, gritty guy, even at his old age. Like I still think he can get it done, man. And I'm excited to see what Usman has left in the tank. I do think maybe he gets on the right side with this victory, and I would be happy to see that. He's a dog still. You know, the height advantage, the length advantage. I think also the IQ and the stamina. I mean, he's been in so many 5-round fights his entire career. He was surging hard against Kamaru Usman, or against Boers in his fight, and I do think that we could potentially see, you know, a 5-rounder. And if we do see rounds 4 and 5, I do think that the weight cut for Buckley is going to be tough. He's very big as far as musculature goes. He's going to have to dehydrate himself a lot. I don't know if he's going to be able to really have what it takes to go in those championship rounds in round 4 and 5. So I would lean Usman because of IQ, fight IQ, and just championship round advantage. We've seen him in there time and time again. And I think he's still got maybe 1 or 2 really good fights left in him before he kind of just hangs it up and calls it a day. And lastly, let's talk about a 2025 rookie from this class. We've got Rodolfo Bellato versus Paul Craig. Now, I don't have high expectations with Bellato, right? But he is a 2025 rookie. So basically, anytime that I see that a rookie is on a card, I'm going to kind of pay attention and try and watch that one. Now, I will say this. He had kind of a mad performance against Jimmy Crute. It was close. It ended up being a draw, actually. So, you know, it was kind of an interesting fight as far as competitiveness goes. But if you can't beat Jimmy Crute, and if you can't finish or look good against Paul Craig, you're probably not ever going to be in the upper echelon of the division. So I'll have my eye on that. A lot of good 2025 rookies this year to keep an eye on. And yeah, man, it's an interesting fight, but we'll see what Bellato can do, see how he does, see if we should keep our eye on him or if we can just cross him completely off the list. But thanks for listening. If you're still watching, I appreciate y'all. I have a video coming out with Josh, aka the 047 Sports Cards, and TCG. I want to do that Merab video. I also have an interview set up with Matt over at the Golden Octagon, and I have the live stream coming up at the end of the month. I think me and Damian settled on the 21st, so hope to see you guys there at the live stream. That's always a good time. We have some fun topics. We'll also go over some card pricing and whatnot. It's going to be some good stuff, man, some good stuff. So hopefully you'll have a good day, and see you next time.